welcome to the Biz Dev Podcast. My name is Edwin Fisher, and I am so excited for this guest, Ricky Carruth. He was the #1 RE/MAX agent in 2014 and 2017. I'm really excited to learn about his sales skills, his real estate skills, how he built a business. The content that he produces is amazing. So I'm super excited. Ricky, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Let's just start off. How'd you get started in real estate? Let's just, from the early days.
Well, I didn't know quite what I wanted to do with my life, so I knew I didn't want to roof houses forever like my dad. So, I failed I went to 4 different colleges in 2 years and failed a history class and realized real estate was one class to get your license. And so that's kind of what led me into it, and then from there, I just kind of followed my intuitions, if you will, and just, got in there and started crushing it, failed a lot, learned a lot, and just kept fighting.
What age did you start because I know you started at a young age. What was that when you started becoming a broker?
20 years old. Okay. I got into real estate.
Okay. And how'd that go? Because that's for the normal, that's pretty young.
Well, it took me 8 months to make my first sale. But, if you just about any agent starting in today's market, it's the same thing. It takes a good, 3 to 6 months to a year sometimes to make your first sale. So times really haven't changed in terms of the process. You know what I mean?
So when you started out in that 8 months, what were you doing? Because I'm assuming you were just green. Did you have a mentor teaching you through? Were you reading books? Kind of how was that?
Well, I was just kind of watching the other top producers in my office and just trying to see what they were doing and ask questions and stuff. But for the first 30 days, I just did real estate full time. And after I didn't sell anything, I had to go back to roofing because I didn't make any money. So I had to go back. And so then I was roofing and doing real estate at the same time, kind of doing real estate part-time for a while.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I was doing. And, like I said, I just paid attention to what the top producers in my office were doing and just tried to ask questions and try to learn from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What was the, to go in from straight commission, that's like a total mind shift. How did you adapt from, maybe having a job, getting paid every 2 weeks to, being on straight commission? What was that transition like for you?
It doesn't really matter to me. I'm a risk taker. I'm fine with living on the edge kind of thing. It doesn't matter to me if I lose everything. When I lost everything in the crash and was sleeping in my car, I went back to roofing, and then I worked on an oil rig for a while. It doesn't matter to me if, I'm going to get up and grind, whether I'm roofing, doing real estate, traveling and speaking, writing books, whatever I'm doing, I'm just going to do it, And so if I lose everything tomorrow, it doesn't matter. My life ain't going to change much. I'll just, get up and go to work. You know what I'm saying? So the transition from steady paycheck to commission based doesn't scare me because, I'm willing to put it all on the line because, I believe in myself, and I know that I'll put sweat equity into the deal. Like I can stand behind the fact that I know I'm going to work every day. And so it doesn't scare me to lose everything because I know I'll just go back to work and make it back, So it's kind of like when I gave up roofing for a second when I got my license and did real estate full time for 30 days, not knowing if I was going to make money, but it didn't work out. So before I completely went broke, I went back to roofing,
Now, have you always been like that? Like almost risk measuring, because not many people, that's almost like a gift that you have.
Because the people that don't really believe in themselves much. They don't have any faith. They don't believe. They want to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. That's great. They're comfortable and they're happy, and that's what they like. I don't. I like being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So.
That's really interesting. And how old were you when the 2008 crisis? So you started when you were 20, and 2008
Well,
hits? How many years were you in the industry?
yeah, the real estate market started to crash here in 2005. Started
Okay.
to slowly go down in 2005, and so um, let's see. I was 20. I made $1 million before I was 23 and lost it all by 25. So that kind of puts it in perspective.
Wow. And that was just selling real estate, or was that investing in real estate, or?
I was investing. Yeah, I invested a lot and borrowed a lot of money and had a lot of debt, flipping properties, and just got caught.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So then after 2008 hits, what was your plan? You were sleeping on friends' couches.
Well, that was 2005. I mean,
Oh, wow.
2005, the market started coming down. And by 2006, I pretty much had lost everything by then. And that was the year I started living out of my car. And I roofed houses the whole year 2006. I got a job on an oil rig 2007, the whole year. And by 2008, I was actually back in real estate. I got laid off from the oil rig January 2008, and I was back in real estate. And I actually closed a couple deals, and was kind of back in the game and started working on my way back up, from there.
And then, so did you have a completely new game plan once you got back in the industry?
Yeah, the new game plan was I wanted to focus on people and creating relationships and seeing what I could do to help them short and long term, as opposed to just closing deals. So
Okay.
I flipped it from going after the money to trying to help people long term.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the difference.
Were a lot of other real estate agents in your area, did their mindset shift as well to where I'm not going after transactions, or were you like unique to where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to redo this and I'm going to try the long-term approach, the relationship building? Did you see any other realtors pick up on that, or were you unique in that?
I have no idea.
Gotcha.
I have no idea what the other agents do, what they're doing, how they're doing it. I have no idea.
Dead focus.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. So I know, and I've heard you mention this a lot, and I really like it. You said just talk to more people.
Mm.
Say I'm a new business owner or a new salesman or a new realtor. Like, I know a lot of people are so afraid to talk over the phone. It just scares some, people can't do it.
Yeah.
But what advice could you give somebody if they're struggling on that hurdle? Like, what would you suggest for them?
I would suggest, if they're not going to cross that hurdle, then to go ahead and find something else to do. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't have really, it's hard to have patience with someone who says, I want to be a top producer, but they won't even call their sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like it's more than just scared to make cold calls. They're scared to call people they know. It doesn't make a bit of sense. They're sitting here saying, I want to make $1 million. I want to sell 100 properties a year. My why is my family, but they won't call a single person. So I don't know that their ambitions aren't lining up with their actions. I can't, you ask them what they're scared of and they say, I don't know. You ask them what they're scared of and they say, I don't know. I mean, what is so scary about a phone call? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this thing out. I've been trying to figure it out for years now. I mean, what is so scary about a phone call?
My guess would be in that scenario, just someone who's never known, like the fear of the unknown and the fear of the assumption of rejection, and being able to handle that. It's just kind of because I'm in sales myself, and kind of learning it was challenging, but that's just a guess. The fear of the unknown and just fear of rejection. Would you agree with that, or?
Well, you said it, the assumption of rejection. They're assuming the outcome of the situation, and it's all make-believe.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest phone calls I ever made coming up in the business, I was scared to make. And then once I spent all this time worried about it, and then as soon as I made the call, the person was nice on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I was worried about nothing the whole time.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense to assume that you're going to have a negative outcome, when 90% of the time you're going to have a super positive outcome.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to go through that 10% of negative outcomes to get to the 90% of the positive outcomes. I mean, if you make the calls, there's a chance. Even if you suck, you're giving yourself a chance. Let's say you really suck and you only have a 1% chance. Okay, that's still better than 0% chance when you don't call.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance. Give yourself an opportunity to succeed. You never know where that phone call is going to go. I've called Gulfront condo owners and ended up selling apartment complexes and commercial properties and stuff from owners that I met that own Gulfront condos, or same thing with anything. I mean, you call and you create relationships, and they're thinking about doing something completely different. And man, help me do this over here. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many positive things that come from just staying on the phone. I call it phone call karma.
Mm.
If it's on the phone, good things happen. The universe,
from different angles.
The universe rewards you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're putting in the work. That's why I say don't focus on the results. Let's focus on our daily actions and what we can control, because we can't really control the results. We can't control if people are going to buy or sell or do this or do that, but we can control what we do every day. Mm-hmm. So let's just focus on that and know that if we work the way we're supposed to work, then the results will happen the way they're supposed to happen. If you put forth the maximum amount of effort, you're going to get the maximum amount of results. If those maximum amount of results aren't exactly to the level of results you want, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be down on yourself because you yielded the maximum amount of results that you could possibly yield. Let's just try again next year, and let's just keep going and keep fighting and keep grinding and keep working. You'll get there.
How many phone calls do you make a day, or what's your?
I don't really focus on how many.
Okay.
I want to do 3 hours, 3 days a week.
Okay.
9 hours minimum. And then if I have downtime the rest of the week or any other days, if there's any downtime, I want to make that a call session.
And then is there certain times of the day that you focus on, or is there 1 to 3 hour block?
Anytime between 9 and 5.
And mainly just cold calling different leads that, might old listings, or how do you get your leads?
Property owners, people that own the exact properties I want to sell. Pick out a subdivision, I get all the phone numbers and I call them.
Wow.
Yeah, I pick out my price range, I pick out the exact properties I want to sell, and that's what I focus on.
And then, because I'm just kind of focusing on someone, brand new, and they're trying to figure out, so how would you start that conversation? What would be the few things, I guess the first type of the dialogue of calling somebody cold like that?
Oh, you say, hey, is this Mr. Johnson? Hey, Mr. Johnson, it's Ricky Carruth down here at Remax of Orange Beach. How you doing? Cool, I'm enjoying the day, too. Isn't it gorgeous out there? Yeah, well, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but a house around the corner just sold from you. Didn't know if there's anything in the world I could do for you.
That's probably about 14 seconds. And simple as that. That sounds...
Well, I said it real quick, and I didn't the other person on the phone time to respond, but that's it. And then they're like, no, I'm good. Okay, cool. Is there an agent you might work with if you were to do something? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure at some point you will do something. I'd love the opportunity to work with you later when you decide to do something. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch? Okay, cool. What's a good email address for you? Is this your cell phone number? Boom. Now I have their contact information. I can start building my brand. So they had we had that first initial conversation, had a really good first impression. I wasn't pushy. I asked if I could help them. I didn't ask them if they want to buy or sell. So they liked that. And then all of a sudden, boom, they start getting weekly emails and text messages from me about the market and about myself and stuff like that. And so, 2.5 years later, they decide to sell their house and upgrade. They're going to call me. See what I mean? And so, it's all about building brand. It's all about touching people, giving a great first impression, and then building your brand digitally from there until they want to do something. And when you build your brand, now you're kind of getting out of the sales game. Because in the sales game, you're just good as your last sale. Now you got to go sell again. But when you build brand, people come to you, and you just continue building that brand up.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going through some of your content and and you put out a lot of good stuff. Just the edits of your videos. When did you decide to start doing that? Because I'm assuming you weren't doing that 10 years ago. Like was it, okay, I'm taking this serious. I mean, the stuff you put out is really high end.
The beginning of 2017 is when I started, writing books and putting out content and podcasting and speaking and all that stuff. So 3 years now.
And when doing that, what did you see? Like, how was that journey?
It's been
Like,
a long, wild ride, man. Because I'm coaching for free, and so I lost money. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, in the first couple of years, and so it's been wild because I spend so much time on something I'm losing money on when I have this $1 million a year business, real estate business, that I'm taking time away from. So it's I dealt with a lot of personal struggle, putting so much time into something that I was losing money doing, but I just believed in it, because I was helping people, and the response from the industry was so positive. It just kind of kept me motivated and kept me going, and just kept me in this mindset to just keep pushing through, that one day I would get there. So, and I'm still trying to get there, so, but the good thing is I'm not losing money anymore. So it's between the book sales and the speeches and everything else, and it's become, at least where, I'm not losing money. And so now I can breathe a little and know that I'm building something great. And, before long, I'll just dominate the entire real estate, industry. The whole goal is to reduce the failure rate. By just sharing my story and sharing, how I built my business, and hoping it will help others.
And what's that normal failure rate? Didn't you say like 90%? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
Of new realtors.
Yeah.
Can't continue on with their business.
The first couple years, 80 or 90% quit, because it is. And it's just such a tough learning curve, and a lot of people can't fight through that to pay their bills. They got bills coming in, and so it's tough.
Do you have a team editing a lot of the posts that you put out, or are you putting out all that, editing it yourself? Or
no, I have a company, High Key Agency, up in Winnipeg, Canada. They edit a lot of my stuff. I have another guy over in California and LA that does some stuff for me, and then I do some stuff. So between the three of us, we get it done.
Yeah, I've been checking your story, and I keep seeing 4:35 waking up. Man, that's awesome. That's really I try and wake up at 5:30, and that's like about the same time because you're about an hour behind. You're like, man, you're really that's very disciplined.
You can't say it's the same time.
Yeah.
You might be getting up when I get up, when the world's spinning, but it's actually an hour later.
Yeah. That's great. So I know, like, the quality of your, like, I see sometimes just, going through Instagram, I'll see a sponsored post of a realtor, and it feels like it's, hey, look at this house. This is a good house. Buy this house. This house is $499.99. Like, what advice would you give realtors who are just, cause a lot of people are just like, yeah, social media, it's this thing. And I just feel like maybe like the older realtors or someone that's trying to get into it for a part-time thing, I don't think they understand like the value of it and what you could be creative. What would be some of the early steps as a realtor that they can use to leverage?
I think just be a media company, bring breaking news to the public, new listings, really cool articles, do videos of new restaurants and, stuff like that, just bring interesting content, not just listings, but, stuff going on in the community, and kind of be like your own little news broadcasting company, where you're basically Channel 5, you're bringing people breaking news all the time through your Facebook and Instagram and podcast and YouTube, and you should be on all the platforms, you know.
Yeah.
I think real estate agents might want to do a video once a week, you know, and put it on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you know, all those places, and put it on a podcast. Create your own podcast on iTunes and have it syndicated to all the podcast channels, and you know, put it there too. I mean, why not? It's free, you know.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny. I came across you surfing through TikTok. So I posted, I'm like, oh, it's really interesting. And it just kind of put me in a rabbit hole. I went to YouTube, and I went to your Instagram, and I went to your website. I was like, wow, this is really good stuff.
So you found on TikTok?
Yep. And it was actually on the For You page. Like, and the reach is pretty. Like, I'm no Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm still learning. But the reach, like, I'll post a video on TikTok, and I don't have much followers. I'll get 500 views, 300 views sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's just amazes me. And I was just going across. And I was like, because what really caught my attention was you said, millionaire at 23 lost it all. And I was just like, whoa, that's really interesting. You hear things like, oh, I made money. Excuse me. And it just really caught my attention. You know,
yeah.
Most people are, I think, you know, scared of TikTok, maybe like that are older, because it's all for kids. And, you know, I hear that a lot. Even my friends, like, I'm like, hey, you guys on TikTok? And that's for kids. That's for children. But if you're getting the reach, man, it's out there.
I was like that with Facebook. I didn't mess with Facebook or Instagram or anything till 2017 when I started coaching and writing. I didn't touch social media at all. I had nothing. I did zero YouTube videos or podcast. I had nothing. I didn't even have an Instagram account. Nothing. So I was a lot like that. And looking back, I wish I would have dove on top of all the platforms. You know, back when I was like 20, you know, 25, or whenever this stuff came out, I wish I would have really dove on it. So that's why I'm kind of dove into TikTok and trying to post, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. You know, just to play around with it and see kind of where it goes. You know, I'm up to like 15,000 followers. You know, just kind of see where it goes. Because, you know, if I get 500,000 followers and then it goes away, those 500,000 people still knows who I am. And they have followed me on other platforms, and, you know, the saga continues. I mean, it's just very rarely can you get a situation where, you know, you can literally have 0 followers and, you know, do a video and get 1 million views. You know, I have 2 videos over 1 million views. You know, and that was when I had like 3,000 followers. You know,
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's incredible, and you're right. It is mostly kids, but what happens? How old are those kids going to be in 10 years, 20 years? They're going to be 25 to 35. You know, and in 20 years they're going to be 35 years old.
Yeah.
Buying houses, getting in real estate. You know, they're going to be, you know, the next generation. So why not grab their attention right now and, you know, kind of, you know, become their entertainment, or become their mentor, or become their real estate agent, or become whatever your niche is, you know. I mean, I don't know. I get both sides of it, is what I'm saying. I was the same way. I wish I wouldn't have been. That's why I'm jumping on it now. And
was there like a book you read, or it's like, what was the epiphany point? Like, man, it's 2017 and I don't even understand Facebook. What was the understanding of?
Because when I got into coaching and realized, see, I didn't use social media at all for my real estate business up to that point. So I didn't need it, to be honest with you. Phone calls and emails were it. And so, but in the coaching industry, I realized I had to have it. It was really the only way to exponentially grow. And so then I had to just get my hands dirty and learn it, you know? So that was it. I realized that it was where it's at, because I started to look up all the other coaches, and I started to watch their videos, and I kind of saw where the benchmarks were and kind of what was going on. And I said, okay, I can do this, you know? So I just started working at it. My first videos were horrible, and still, I don't think I have a great, I still feel like there's lots of room for improvement. There always will be. You're always getting better.
That's great. So I know you have the 0 to diamond coaching.
Mm.
Can you talk a little bit about that, like kind of what that process is like if I'm a new member or if I want to learn, or what's that like for you?
Yeah, it's totally free. There's a 90-day action plan that involves a course and a 28-day challenge where you get a challenge video text to you every day at 7 o'clock. And then you finish out the 90 days. As soon as you finish the 90 days, then we do a coaching call. So that's how I weed out the people. This is how I can do it for free. I weed out the people who don't want to put in the work. And then the people who do put in the work, now I feel like I can spend, they've proved to me that they're worth spending time on to help them get to the next level.
Gotcha.
So then there's achievement levels. There's gem, emerald, ruby, sapphire, diamond, black diamond, all the way up to diamond, which is $1 million a year. So I'm just trying to work people through the system to get them to diamond, 0 to diamond, get them to $1 million a year. And, it's just something that's, I'm growing it by about 50 to 100 agents a day for the past 2 years. We're over 25,000 members right now. And, it's incredible what it's doing to the industry.
That's awesome.
Because it's free,
And the coaching calls are free as well?
Everything's free. Yeah,
man,
it's free.
That's awesome. That's really, I'm not in real estate at all, but if someone in my industry offered that type of coaching, I would love to jump on that. That's really...
well, why not? It's free. Why not jump in, learn from a guy? See, I'm actually, currently selling real estate. Like before I got on this podcast with you, I have, a dozen deals I'm trying to juggle. So I'm in the industry in today's world, making it happen on a high level. And so why not have a free coach who also sells real estate in today's world, who will do it for free? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And also, how many closings or how many houses do you sell in a year? I know you said 100 1 year, or what's...
Yeah, I've closed, over 100 a year since 2014. So I've closed 2 a week since 2014, every week.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then because like I said, I'm not in the industry, but what's an average realtor? I know you say don't keep too much attention to, I just want some perspective. The
average?
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many agents that don't sell anything. So when you do the averages, it kind of really
just outweigh it.
Yeah, it skews the numbers. I mean, on average, people do, I don't know, 5 or 10.
Okay.
Average everything. I don't know.
Gotcha. That's great. And I know you do some speaking. What are some areas that I know you're coming to the East Coast soon, right?
I got Long Island next week. I'll be in Vegas twice this year. Orlando. I'm going to Houston. Atlanta twice. Raleigh, North Carolina. Naples. Richmond. So I'm working on a bunch of different.
And are these RE/MAX events, or are they just many different types of real estate events?
No. Let's see. Only one of those is a RE/MAX event. One in Vegas, and then in February is the RE/MAX convention.
Okay.
Convention. But other than that, everything else is just open to the public.
Okay, great. So I know we hit 2020. I know you said you want to be an industry leader in the real estate space, but what's your goal for 2020? What gets you excited? I know you got two deals a week. That sounds like it gets you pretty pumped, but what are your goals to grow further?
Just for real estate, I just want to just maintain these 2 deals a week.
Okay.
I want to maintain this till about 2030. That's kind of my goal with real estate, is just to maintain this level where I'm at till 2030.
Because what's after?
Well,
you're going to retire, or just?
Well, who knows? But 2030 will be 20 years for Remax, and there's a 20-year um, career award that they give, 20 years and 20 million in commissions, which I'll hit both. Um, and that's a pretty big career, award that they give. So that's kind of my goal there. In 2 years, I'll hit the 10-year, $10 million award. So I'm more kind of looking at career awards through Remax for the real estate, you know, business right now. And then as far as speaking, writing, coaching, just take it as far as I can take it. I'm going to speak probably 30 times this year in different cities, and just continue spreading the word, man. Try to get the memberships up to 50,000.
Okay.
50, 60,000. We're at 25 right now. So 50, 60,000 there, and just keep growing on my social medias and, trying to spread the word, and help people.
Awesome. Now, are you planning on investing in real estate? Maybe buying, or have you invested? Or I know you said in the past you did some flips. Plan on growing that aspect?
I have, I don't know, 20 different long-term rentals, a couple short terms. I'm always in the middle of flipping about 5 houses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty deep in the investing game.
How do you fit it all in? Because I just saw you had a new baby, so that's probably super exciting. Like, how do you take it all and kind of manage that all? Because that's a lot of stuff going.
I think the biggest thing, man, is where most people go wrong is they worry about stuff too much, and it really just messes them up. You just gotta not worry about stuff. I mean, it's like I said from the beginning. I don't care if I go to zero. I don't care if I lose everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if a renter didn't pay this month and I have to evict. It's not a big deal, to me. If I lose money on one of my flips, doesn't matter. I'm gonna make money on 5 of them. If the market dips and I bought at the wrong time and I lose a little bit, not a big deal. So I don't care. I'm willing to risk. I'm willing to take risks, and I'm okay with the worst of consequences, based on the fact that I don't worry. See, I know that I'm going to lose a little because I don't worry, but because I don't worry, I know that I'm going to gain 10x what I might have lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's pretty interesting, because it's so easy on the short term to lament on that loss, right? But I the way you're describing it and your viewpoint, the way I'm interpreting it, is you're thinking way longer than that. Like, then, I just lost $2,000 because of X, or,
after you've lost so much the way I have, after you've lost so many times and just had so many failures, you just kind of grow numb to it. It's just like, well, when I lost that time, it didn't really hurt. I mean, it stung, but then, like, you think about the real aftermath of it, it's like, that wasn't a big deal.
Now, do you, like, if you had to do it all over again? I mean, that sounded like that was almost like a springboard, that loss, from maybe shifting.
I'm starting all over again every day.
Okay.
Like, that's why I'm here in the office grinding away. I mean, I could literally not. I don't have to do any of this. In my mind, I'm starting over every single day. Okay, how can I push it as far as I can push it today? From zero to what?
Yeah. That's awesome. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to see if you can describe, because the amount of deals that you have, I'm sure you have an interesting story, one maybe that was unique, or one that was going to close, didn't close, or do you have like one deal or one property that you sold that was pretty interesting, or just kind of like, how did that happen? How was that? You mind just like maybe sharing one of those? I know you probably have tons, but.
Yeah, I mean, the stories are, I got 2 decades worth of stories.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, and there's so many I forgot. Because there's so many, and it's been so many years. But I mean, there's tons of stories, man. Like, I mean, there's one right now. the buyers called me, talked for a week, went and showed them all the they came down. They're not from here. They came down. We looked at some properties. I advised them. I gave them my lender. Everything was set up, and then boom, they make an offer through another agent on my listing. I showed them. I got the offer, and I was like, "What?" So I called the buyer, and I was like, "What? Why would you have written this through another agent? I showed it to you. I advised you. I hooked you up with the lender. It was wild." But at the end of the day, the buyer didn't, I don't think, realize how it all worked. And the other agent, I think they had full intentions of representing them on this, and so it was kind of a squirrely deal, and we're still negotiating it. But it's just like, but at the end of the day, on stuff like that, you really need to turn around and just kind of congratulate the buyers, because they did what they thought was best for them. And that's what you should want for them. You should want them to do what they feel is best for them. That's really your job, is to look out for them. So if they choose a different agent, then that must mean that's what they wanted to do and what they thought was best. So you want them to do that. So yeah, the stories are endless, man.
I bet you could do it like an episode, a whole podcast just on crazy stories of different houses you sold. That's awesome. Hey, Ricky, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really learned a lot. I love your attitude of, just brush it off and keep going, keep hustling. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 and, I may have had bad day, bad week, but I'm starting over. That to me is like, I'm going to really, really digest that. And I think the listeners will kind of take a lot from that. But yeah, Ricky Carruth, thanks for coming on the Biz Dev podcast. My name's Edwin Fisher. Looking forward to seeing what you got going on years to come.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.